There's a lot of flowers going on. It's too much. Last week I posted this how to fail on a vegan diet. It's just some things I've learned over the years watching and responding to ex-vegan YouTubers. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about my own vegan journey. I guess just some of the things that I think have helped me stay vegan for this long, 12 years. I think 12 years, I'm not 100% sure. I just go by like summer of 2009 because I know then I was, but I don't know for how long before that. Like I don't know like what was the last animal product thing I intentionally ate. I don't know. Number one, I eat a pretty balanced, healthy, normal vegan diet, I guess. When I initially went vegan, it was pretty hardcore whole foods, 2 pounds of vegetables a day. At least that's what I was supposed to do. I was following the Eat to Live plan. Pretty soon I took that up a notch by going raw, specifically raw fruitarian, eating very low fat and mostly fruit. Did that for several years before going, this is dumb and really expensive. And then I started incorporating cooked foods, cooked beans and grains and stuff. This was about 8 years ago. I continued with the fairly low fat for another year or so, and then I dropped that too. So for the last 7 or so years, I've eaten, again, pretty normally, I guess. I don't track carbs. I don't track fat. I eat a fair amount of fat, as many of you know. Just watch by what I ate today. But I do try and keep loose track of my protein, eating at least 80 grams a day, usually eating about 100 grams a day. I just find that more protein is more satiating, more satisfying for me. I eat whole foods, but I also eat the healthier processed stuff like protein powder and mock meats. I love mock meats, some of them. And I don't spend 30 plus minutes making a salad and then another 30 plus minutes eating that salad just so I don't die from mineral deficiency. I wish I were joking. Number 2, I'm vegan for ethical reasons. I'm vegan because I think it's wrong to kill animals for food or to harm them for their eggs, milk, whatever it is they produce. I'm not vegan for health. All animal products are not equal when it comes to health. There are some that are actually pretty healthy. And I don't believe that a vegan diet is significantly healthier than like a plant-based diet with some animal products or healthier at all, really. The main things when it comes to health, not smoking, not eating too much, eating lots of plants, exercising, managing bad stress, getting enough sleep. You can do that without veganism. Because I'm not a dietary vegan, I don't succumb to the like veganism is the best diet and it's so healthy and it's a cure-all and, you know, if you're vegan, you're just impervious to disease and like any illness. No, like if I don't go out and get a steak if I have a pain in my knee or if I find a new gray hair. Number 3, I eat junk foods. I eat junky vegan foods like ice cream and whatever else pretty much every day, in moderation, of course, but pretty much every day I have some sort of candy or chocolate or chips or whatever. I'm also willing to eat the more controversial vegan stuff like the lab-grown stuff like Brave Robot ice cream. I have a video trying that or maybe just talking about it on my channel. As much as I love that stuff, the texture is so good. I don't eat it anymore because I think it gave me ass acne. I love that is not the first time I've mentioned ass acne on this channel. My own ass acne. Cool. Great. Wonderful. Again, I'm vegan for the animals, not for health or for purity. I don't care if a little bit of milk enters my body, right? As long as it's not, supporting the industry. So I'm really not concerned about small amounts of animal products and stuff, mono and diglycerides in bread. That's always the example I use. Something doesn't have to have vegan on the label for me to eat it. I don't care if it says, may contain trace amounts of milk or trace amounts of egg. I can also eat at non-vegan restaurants. I know there are some vegans who won't because they're, afraid of getting beef juice on their veggie burger or whatever. If it's a taste thing, I totally get that. Like I typically do avoid restaurants serving meat, not out of any, moral concern, but just because the smell is disgusting. I don't want to smell meat, but like getting pad thai from a place that cooks egg in the same wok, that's totally fine. Do not care. Number 5, I take supplements. I have a whole video on the supplements I take actually, and it's nothing silly. There's no like functional mushrooms. It's just your standard, important stuff like B12. Every vegan should take a B12 supplement, and DHA. That's another possibly important one. Number 6, vegan is part of my identity, but it's a kind of relatively small part, I would say. I don't protest. I don't watch factory farm footage, undercover footage. I don't even go to like farm sanctuaries, volunteer at sanctuaries, although we might do that in the future if the kids want to. Not saying any of those things are wrong, not at all, but I think the most important thing when it comes to being successful and staying vegan is realizing what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, and what will help you avoid burnout. I don't particularly like being around people, certainly not a lot of people, certainly not like talking to strangers. I don't even particularly like being around animals, but that's a story for another day. And I know the effect that watching like depressing media has on my mental health, and it's not a particularly good effect. So being successful for me means avoiding those things as much as possible. It really means limiting veganism in my life by as much as possible. I eat vegan food. I make videos about vegan food and the philosophy of veganism and stupid shit other vegans say, but that's about it. I don't believe non-vegans are bad people. I think they're average people who do bad things because everyone else is also doing the bad things, and so the bad things just don't seem that bad. As a result, I don't feel as much social pushback as maybe some other more vocal vegans might feel. And I think this ties into was it the last one? Yeah, the last one, just talking about identity, because like I'm a vegan, but I'm not a vegan, I think it's easier for me to not demonize people. I can just look at their actions versus their character because I don't see their actions as an affront, as an assault on my identity. When we feel like what someone is saying or doing is an attack on our identity, I think we're more likely to be pretty mean. Whereas for me, it's very separated. What other people are doing is completely separate from what I'm doing. Obviously, I would like them to change, but that's the extent of it. It doesn't influence my own actions or how I feel about my lifestyle. Myself, my kids, my baby daddy. I don't think I've called him baby daddy in a long time. We're all vegan, which makes things so much easier, right? Because it just means that there's one more thing that we're united on, or one less thing to fight about, really. We're never fighting about like what to feed the kids or anything like that. We just find other things to fight about, right? There's always something else. Much of my extended family is vegetarian or even vegan, which is pretty cool. The most important thing is that they're very supportive. Even when I was like crazy raw foodist, they were so nice and so supportive. I think I've told the story before about my aunt setting up for me this like beautiful plate of peaches and blueberries for Thanksgiving when I was raw. Like, I'm so lucky. And finally, number 9, and I think this one might actually be not the most important, because I think really eating healthfully is probably the most important, making sure you're getting B12 and whatnot, but maybe the second most important. I understand the philosophical, the ethical arguments for veganism. So when someone is like, hey, but what about this? What about this? Like, it's not shocking or concerning to me. Vegans kill animals too. What about that? Isn't that a problem? Like, you name it, I've heard it and I've thought about it. I think having a poor understanding of why vegan, which I would guess that probably the majority of vegans do really, is a big risk. It makes it easier to fool yourself, and it makes it easier, I think, to give up when we're stressed out. So if someone is already struggling to be vegan and then someone comes up with like, well, the world is full of things eating things and there's no like perfect, no suffering paradise. So like, why are you even trying? It can be easy to go, you know what, you're right. So just kidding. This is the last one. I thought of this while I was editing. I think both my personality and upbringing have made me well suited to something like this, something like veganism and, on the fringe kind of lifestyle. For one thing, I was raised without religion in the southern US. And I had a friend, this would have been in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere around there, who would go around telling kids that I didn't believe in God. It didn't seem like it was mean, just like hey, she doesn't believe in God. Isn't that crazy? Which could have been really terrible, right? Except, number 1, most kids didn't seem to care, like at all. And number 2, I didn't care. I could not have cared less what people thought about my beliefs. That's not entirely true. One girl called me stupid, and that made me really mad. She was also a lot older, which just seemed like really unfair to me, but it didn't make me sad. Like, I wasn't sad that she didn't like me. I was just so mad that she thought I was stupid when I thought that clearly she was the dumb one for believing in something so obviously made up just because her parents told her it was real. Yeah, I wasn't exactly the nicest kid. Point is, I'm used to being weird, so going vegan and being like an outcast or something for being vegan was never a concern for me. I always saw myself as different from everyone else anyway. That's just kind of the way it was. I wasn't going to change my views or not do something for fear that it would make me weird or not normal. I know this isn't really a tip. Obviously, you can't change your upbringing, and, you know, bitchifying your personality is probably pretty tough too. Not that you should even do that if you could. I mean, there are benefits to the way I am, but also a lot of drawbacks. But I wanted to bring it up because I suspect it makes a large difference for me when it comes to staying vegan. Just like for someone else, you know, growing up with vegan parents would probably make a large difference, right? Yes, my family is supportive. That's super awesome. But how much that would affect my decision to stay vegan if they weren't? Probably not at all. Veganism is just another opportunity for me to be weird. And all the best people are weird anyway. This whole thing makes me sound so full of myself. Like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I just do what I want to do and what I know is right, which is not true. I've been like embarrassed plenty of times in my life. And what is embarrassment if it's not caring what other people think about you, right? And there have definitely been times when it wasn't great being weird. And there have been times when I felt like, oh, wow, is this what it's like to be normal? This is actually kind of nice. I remember seeing the invention of lying in theater, and it was amazing just to have that sort of message in like a mainstream movie that you could see in theater. And I don't know, it felt really cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Of course, comments and questions and tips for any of you who have been vegan for, you know, a number of years. I don't know. What is long term exactly? I have no idea. But any tips from anyone would be super cool. And if you like the video, of course. Consider subscribing to and hitting the bell if you want to be notified when I upload. And thank you so much to patrons, of course, at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. I do post some exclusive content there 2 times a month for $5 plus patrons. And I guess that's it. Thank you again, guys. I will have a new video very soon. I gotta go peel this nail polish off. It's time. It's time. It's like raising up at the edges. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get a whole piece, but I just can't with this one. Well, I did, but it was while I was sleeping. I like found it in my bed. That's so gross. This is like really stuck on. It's like good nail polish maybe. It's the Sally Hansen. I got one of their vegan ones. It's really, really pretty color. But man, it wants to stay on. Okay, oh shit. I've got like, it's gonna break. No! Is this what nail polish is supposed to do? I thought you were supposed to be able to just peel it off in a huge old chunk. Just the whole thing. Nope. Okay, I'm not sure how to feel about this, honestly, because I really love peeling it off in big pieces. So is this good or bad? I'm sure I've had a lot of embarrassing moments, but the one thing I think of, the one thing that pops into my mind is like, I don't know, I was probably in like 2nd or 3rd grade. And I remember we were all standing in line, single file, like in the hallway, waiting to go into a class or something. And I had my little pencil box and I dropped it and all the pencils went everywhere. And I guess that was just incredibly embarrassing. I don't remember anyone doing anything or even saying anything. Like, I'm sure someone helped me pick it up, but I don't even remember that. I just remember feeling like, oh my God, my life is over. I dropped pencils everywhere. Everyone's gonna look at me and see my pencils.